Okay, so only 39 seconds for that frame. Didn't take too bad. And here you can see now, here's the blue light coming in, creating some shadows. Here's the red light coming in from that side, also creating shadows. I have shadows on for all these lights. So it's looking really cool. But the background itself, you can even see some red catching in the side here. So it's looking pretty neat. We're getting the nice colors in it that we wanted. But the background is still too black. Okay, and I still got to put surfaces on these letters up here. So first thing I'm going to do is come into my Windows. And let's choose backdrop options. Okay. And then for the backdrop, we're going to add an environment. We'll choose image world. Select it by double clicking it. And we can choose a light probe image. I think that should work. Okay, let's try it. We're not going to use it as a light probe, but you can still do this. And from your images folder, there is a red-blue background. You can load that up. And all you got to do is just render that out. And what that's going to do is just basically place this image all in the background of the scene. Okay, now it said light probe, and light probe is, well, if you ever heard of HDR, it's a way you can use HDR images inside Lightwave, which is really cool. However, you can also just put a regular image in there in the environment. So what I did was create a simple black and white image. And let me see if I could open this up here and show you real quick. We'll call up the projects, then the images. That's what is in the background. You see that? Just went into Photoshop. I took a black background, a red brush, and a blue brush, and almost created like lights. Just give it this kind of light look. And so now you can see that we've got that nice gradient in the background without actually using Lightwave's gradient tool. Okay. Now, there's a little bit more we're going to do just to make this not so flat, I should say, so everything blends a little bit. But what's cool about this is that now when we turn the camera around, like this, let's see if we rotate over here, for instance, and again, we haven't surfaced those letters yet. We're just going to basically copy the glass on there. Here's the red mixed to the blue. Okay, so it might take a little trial and error, but now we just got this great-looking background, and again, the glass is transparent. These things are metallic and just reflective, and now we've got just this nice environment that we're in rather than just black. And it's just I think it was 1280 by 1024. So I made it a little bit larger just so we're not getting any kind of pixelization at all. And you got to remember that it's going to be wrapped around your entire scene. So you need to make it a little bit bigger, and you can't just paint it as if you're thinking that it's going to be shown only here in your view. Okay, so if you painted a big red square thinking, a big blue one thinking it's going to be shown exactly like that, you have to kind of consider the entire environment. So I created a bunch of smaller ones which then blend together depending on where we're at here. Okay, so let's go here to our letters. Basically, I'm going to take the football field, right-click and copy it, go to the number sides, right-click and paste. Okay, and the smoothing is correct on the sides. For the bevel, right-click, paste, face, right-click, and paste. Makes it a lot easier than changing all the surfaces properties. Copy everything I need and then just make some changes. So the face is going to be flat. And perhaps it's not quite as transparent, like 50%. And for the bevel, let's make that also maybe 50% transparent. But we make it a little bit brighter, like that. Just so it has a few highlights. Okay, just a little variation, just a little surface variation. Okay, and in fact, you know what I'm going to do for the sides? It's 85%. Let's also make the face 85%. We'll only make the bevel less transparent, about half of what the face and sides are. That'll make the bevel stand out a little bit more. Okay, for the little dashes, which it doesn't look like I did. Okay. Dashes actually have the same surface as they do on the field. And I didn't put any on there. So let's right-click and hit paste. And there's our dashes. Okay. Same surface as the field, but maybe a little less transparency. Okay. And we'll do a save all objects. And Lightwave 9.5 will actually ask you when you save the scene if you want to save the objects, but I'm old school, so I still do that myself. Just like that. Okay. All right, so now we're going to make the logo, and we're going to start getting this thing animated. But few more things I want to do. We're going to go into the field itself. We're going to go to advanced, and we're going to make it 100% glow intensity. And we're going to do the same for every one of these. For the dashes, maybe not so much for the exos, maybe 50%. And for the numbers. We're going to do it for the numbers too. Notice, however, too, I held the shift key and selected the first and the last and selected everything in between, which allows me to change multiple surfaces at once, which is kind of cool. For the trusses, I'm not so sure if I'm going to do that yet. So I put a glow intensity on all of these. However, you have to go to Windows, Image Processing, Enable Glow. You have to turn it on. Okay? And let's make this about 60% and about 10% or 10 pixels, that is. All right. Save the scene. Oops. Okay, what happened just there? I press S to save the scene. When you're in the surface editor and you press S, you actually save the particular surface that is selected. It's kind of a nice thing. Okay. And to get back to this preview window, you can go to Windows and Presets right there. Okay. And you can create yourself a new workspace if you want. You can come up here and right-click, preset, set name, move to, delete, open with parameters, create a library, whatever you like. Which I always forget to do because I'm lazy. But hey, all right, so let's just take a look at this again. F9 to render the current frame, which is 0. We've got our colors in the background. We've got some blur. We added some glass to the football field. Got a red light, a blue light, a big white light in front, which I might actually turn up just a bit. But the way we're going to get even some more dynamic look in the scene is to actually add more light, but not the lights you're thinking. We're going to add lights actually just as elements. Because when you do that, we can put a little glare on there and a little flare of sorts. And that will just create even just something a little more dynamic, a little more flashy. Okay, so we're going to do that. We'll set some keyframes for the motions, and you're going to see that the biggest motion here is going to be the camera itself. Okay, so here's 46 seconds. Okay, so now it's looking even a little bit better with the glow. Okay, so maybe a little hot on the glow. Not so sure yet. We'll see. We'll see how the lights look in there, but I think the football fields actually look pretty cool like that. Okay, we still need a little something back there, a little more transparency of sorts that kind of blend in. And the way we're going to do that, we can actually go just like, you know what, I'm going to fix that right now. Basically what I'm seeing is I like how these elements are, but I don't like actually how the background is. It just still looks like it ends. So watch this. Control C, we're going to copy this football field. We're going to move it back here like this. We are going to rotate it forward. Hello. Come on. Let's undo. There we go. And try and do this nicely. There we go. I don't know if I'm facing the right way or not, but that's okay. Okay, so 90 degrees. And we're going to size it up like this. And what I want to do is check it from the perspective view as well, just to make sure we're not far enough back. We're going to move that way back here. Like this, Shift H for scale, and we're going to scale that up. So that way when you see it, you now have this, oops, that's F8 by the way. Now you got this nice big panel in back. Now, it has the same surface properties as our other football fields. However, you can make that one transparent on its own just by going to the object transparency, and I can show you that. So if this one's a little too shiny, you might have to change the surface properties for it. But if you just want it to not show up as much, you can make that particular object a little transparent by still keeping the same surfaces. So it's just a matter of adding larger elements in the back of all the elements we made. And I've done a number of different treatments over the years for a lot of companies just by doing all the same kind of thing. Just taking a few key elements and just animating them, surfacing them, blending them, transparency, and so on. And what's cool about it, too, is that often, and you got to talk to designers about this, they often only build logos and treatments with 3 or 4 different elements. You got a main font, you maybe have a sub font, you've got 3 or 4 colors to work with, and that's it. So you're actually exercising a lot of your creativity just by trying to find different ways to use all these different surfaces. So, okay, so it's looking a little bit better. However, here's how you get that one just pulled down. We just want it really subtle in the background, and we can just slowly move it a little bit too. What's good about it back there is that it reflects everything in front of it, which is going to give it some more depth, but it's just a little too bright. So it's selected, right? That's our football field 3. Press P to open your object properties, and here you can see your current object, football field 3. Okay. If you look here, there's a geometry tab, a deform tab, there's a render tab, and look, an object dissolve. Dissolve it by like 80%. And what you're doing then, in a sense, is very similar to transparency, but it's just dissolving out that particular object. And this is why the ray trace shadows are important, because they still respond to this transparency level, which is really nice. Okay, so I'm going to let this render out. We'll start the next video, show you what this looks like, and then we'll hop in and create ourselves a fake logo.